Welcome back again, folks. Another episode of the Profitable Sheep and Goat Production Podcast. I'm Leon with Lost Creek Wholesale.
And I'm Matt with Glenbrook Farm.
And today we're going to just talk a bit about what's happening in the lambing barn and maybe dig into a little bit of what Matt's got going on with some of his AI work and embryo transfers. See how well he made out with that, I guess.
Yep, sounds good. Well, we should probably talk about the weather first of all.
Wow.
It is a pretty relevant topic, especially when you're talking about lambing.
Yeah. Today was pretty mild though. Like it's about pretty nice. I mean, it's still 21 degrees here.
Yeah, well, I think we hit 30 today here, and there was actually a little bit of water running out of the gutters. So
Wow.
I think that's the first that the snow actually melted in a week ago. I think that we got that snow over the weekend.
We still had -7 this morning, but it's been in the negatives, single digits and negatives for the last week and a half, I guess, probably.
Yep.
How cold did you have last week? I think Saturday we had -15.
Yeah, we were single digits.
Yeah.
Low single digits. Wind chills were negative some nights, but yeah, we're in the low single digits, which is cold.
We go out and the sheep all have frosty whiskers and
yeah.
Guard dog has frost all over her whiskers on her muzzle. It looks kind of cool actually. It looks funny.
Yeah, you were a little colder yet than us.
Yeah.
I didn't see too much of that. Well, if we're talking about that, we should probably talk about what we do with lambs in that cold, if they lamb when it's that cold.
Well, we had 5 used lamb, I think, there over the night. That night that we had -15.
Mm-hmm.
And I did end up thawing tail tips on 4 and ear tips on 3 or 4.
Yeah.
They were rock hard.
Now, so do you do anything special in cold weather like that? Like help dry the lambs off or warm them up or anything?
I haven't, no. Like usually if the lambs get up and drink,
Yeah.
they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do have to watch it. I mean, if you have a lamb that doesn't drink, boy, they get hypothermia pretty quick.
Yeah, it goes fast. Yeah, it's about I mean, I do if it's really cold, like we had some nights that were negative wind chill factor, and we're just in a hoot barn, same as you, so like you're pretty much outside temps.
Yeah.
I if it's that bad, I often try to help dry off the lambs.
Yeah.
Of course, last Friday night we had I think there was 8 Romanov ewes that lambed, and I don't think that was our coldest night, but it was pretty close. And so these were used with triplets, quads, 5 even, and you almost gotta dry those lambs off.
Yeah.
And
They
you
can't.
dry even when you're drying them off, like they're turning to icicles. Like the afterbirth on them is just freezing.
Yeah.
But then I'm quick to tube them too. If it's that cold, if I'm not sure that they're gonna get enough milk, I'll just tube them and give them that first drink, and then they're usually up and running. But
Right. Well, their ear tips and their tail tips, it's the last thing to dry, kind of. I mean,
yeah,
any moisture all kind of runs down, I figure, and the moms don't lick quite.
well, and there's no protection there really. Like, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we've been rocking right along. I mean, we aren't in the thick of it yet. I'd say we didn't reach the peak yet,
Yeah.
but that's all. I don't really mind if they held off a little bit till it warmed up a little bit. Still looks like single digits most of the next well, we're gonna say the next 2 weeks, but
Yeah.
but
Much
none of
less
this
cold.
negative 10, 15 stuff
Yeah.
anymore, I doubt.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we must be about 10 degrees warmer than you guys, because like, this coming week or this week, I think the lows are in the low teens. I think over the weekend, it's maybe supposed to go down to single digits some here, but
Yeah, it looks like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we should have some negative numbers yet, but
yeah.
anyway,
Yeah, I was glad ours held off a bit too. We've been pretty slow. We had that one spurt there last Friday night, and since that we've been just 2 or 3 ewes a day.
yeah.
Um, Sometime here they gotta get going. So
Well, I had the ewe we talked about a bit ago. I had a bad udder. I don't know. I told my wife, I think I told you this the other day, Matt, but I told my wife that don't ever let me keep ewes that have a bad side to their udder. I don't care how good, how good she is. I'm tired of it. Now, if I had a milk machine, maybe I would change my tune a little bit. I think I would pull problem lambs a lot quicker.
if you have a milk machine,
Maybe.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I do. It's just you pull them, you put them on the milk machine, and I mean, you got maybe a day that you gotta help it suck and get it started, and then it's up and going, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So a couple episodes ago, I made a comment about this is going to be the year that I figure out bottle lambs. I mean, we've had sheep for how many years now, and either I would graft lambs on, I'd do anything I can not to have bottle lambs, sell them, whatever, give them to the neighbor, let their children want to raise some bottle lambs. Hey, I'll buy the milk replacer. You want to have the fun of feeding bottle lambs? Here's your chance.
Yeah,
But I actually am pretty tickled with how things are going. So we got 3 right now, and I bought Premier's milk replacer this year.
yeah,
I'm impressed with that stuff.
yeah.
It seems weird. You'd think they're all milk replacers about the same, but one thing I really like about it is it mixes a lot easier than something you'd buy at Tractor Supply or somewhere. Do you ever notice that?
Well, I've used the Premiere for years already, so I can't yeah,
So I know it says right on the bag on the Premier One stuff that they've done something to it so it mixes better.
okay.
So I got a little fridge there in the barn. I had a bag, a small bag left over from last year,
Mhm.
and it was ziplocked shut, you know. It was just enough to wrap up the season. I'm like, this stuff's pretty old, but it was in the fridge the whole time.
Yep,
I'm like, I bet it's all right. Yeah, it wasn't cakey or anything. It was beautiful, beautiful stuff yet, but it was from last winter. Well, my bucket of Premier stuff got all, so I pulled that out, and that's gonna hold me over to my next bag comes from Premier, and I went so now I'm going back to this old stuff, and I realized it's a lot harder to get all the little clumps beat out of it.
yeah.
Usually, I shake it in my little Algene bottle. So weird.
Now that we know what that is.
Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, it just doesn't dissolve as nice. Doesn't smell as good either.
Yeah. Yeah, that Premier One stuff smells good
Yeah,
and dissolves nice, but I think that's a key though, is a good milk replacer.
yeah.
Um,
Because I no scours yet.
yeah.
They're just
Then you're having them on a bucket?
yeah, they're on a bucket, but I didn't put cold. I'm still it's just been filling it 4 times a day.
Okay.
I didn't
With
switch to cold
right.
because it's just gonna freeze and I'd have to bring them in somewhere where it's warm.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I gotcha. So they actually run out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I need to make a little insulated corner or something and put a heat lamp, put the bucket in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say some guys will put heat lamps over it, but if you're out in your barn and it's that cold, probably just putting a heat lamp over it's hardly gonna keep it open.
Yeah. If I had like a corner blocked off, like a 4 by 4 corner or
Mm.
something, with a bucket inside. It had a small doorway, like a little hole cut in the for the lambs to go in and out of. I think it would work.
Yeah.
You don't want that milk too warm, but you wanna keep it from freezing, right? Yeah, I think
Right.
you want it like 40, 50 degrees or something. 40
Yeah,
degrees.
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So with your milk machine, that is mixing on demand, right?
Um, Small batches. It'll mix maybe 15 ounces at a time or something like that.
But it's not is it keeping it warm?
Yeah. Well, no, not once it's mixed. So the water's warm that it uses to mix it.
Yeah,
But if you have a bunch of lambs on the machine, it's gonna be warm all the time because 'cause they'll
y
suck it down.
right.
Um, so yeah, it's just it has a small reservoir, where basically just the powder falls in, the water falls in, and there's a little propeller in there as it's falling in, that just mixes it up, and then it'll shut off, and then once the lambs drink it down, it'll kick on again.
Yeah. Where'd you get yours? I'm just looking them up right now. I wanted to see again how much they cost. I was
Uh,
telling they were like 17, 1,800 bucks or something.
no, I gave $1,200 for mine
Okay.
at the local farm store.
And what brand is it?
It's they used to be Black Tech, or well, I guess that's the model. I I forget.
Made by Biotech or something?
Yeah, but that sounds right. Yeah, yeah. Now, I just bought my old one was a Lactech. I just bought a new one, and they call that one the starts with a B, a or
Yeah, I saw it on that picture you sent me the other day.
okay, yeah. They just made a couple improvements to the Lactech, but so far it's been working pretty good. I had one morning that I came out that it was empty and it wasn't filling up. And that was one of our biggest frustrations with the old one. It would do that sometimes. And then they have a new probe system now that was supposed to fix it. I have to call them because I don't know. You can't have that. That's been other than that, the machines work pretty well. But that probe sensor system, I don't understand why that's so hard. I would think that would be fairly easy, but apparently it is a bit of a problem.
Hmm. Yeah.
So, but no, it's a lot better than mixing up. I mean, we have 12 or 14 lambs on that thing already with our Romanos lambing that heavy.
And what is it rated at?
40 lambs.
What is
That's kind of what they rate it for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
gotcha.
Now, I that 40 lambs seems like a lot. I think I'm gonna say once you hit 20, 30 lambs, you should probably be looking at another machine.
Mhm.
And I still have my old machine here. It needs some work, but I'm hoping to get that up and going and um have two. That way if one gives out, we just swap them out or whatever.
Yeah, not a bad idea. Talking about feeding and tubing, do you have one of those, utterly easy hand milkers?
No, I don't. I should get one. That'd be great for stripping colostrum out of
Oh,
ewes.
I just
That's one thing with bottle lambs, the sooner you can pull them, the better. Ideally, you should even pull them before they suck
yeah,
colostrum. Most times I leave them in until I know they got colostrum, and then I pull them.
yeah,
But the quicker you pull, and that works pretty well. You know, if it was under a day, they start on the nipple, bucket, milk machine, whatever, pretty easy. But if you leave them in there even for a day, 2, 3 days, it gets a lot harder to start them.
yeah, and I even noticed, like, I always started them on, like, one of them Pritchard teats, them little red teats,
Yeah, yeah.
and if you switch from that to a bucket, they'll even act weird.
Yeah, I was just gonna say because we were talking of maybe starting them on, like, a bottle, um and then switching them to the milk machine, because the problem with the milk machine is you don't really know what they're drinking.
Yeah.
My first 2 lambs this year, I started on the bucket, the milk machine wasn't set up yet, and, yeah, I had to retrain them to the milk machine.
Couldn't you get a nipple that is close the same or something? They ought to do that.
If you do that, that would work. You possibly could. These nipples on the milk machine are pretty long. I mean, they're probably 2.5 inches long, and they're pretty big round, at least like a half inch round.
Mhm.
Um, and I decided I think it's easier to start lambs on this milk machine because one, the milk's warm all the time. And the other thing is that nipple's so big, so you can put the lamb's mouth over that nipple. And if it doesn't suck, you can take your finger and squeeze the nipple and squirt some milk right in their mouth, and that gets them going.
Yeah,
So it's just a little harder to maybe, well, you don't know how much they're drinking, but
right.
you can still, once they latch onto that thing and start sucking, and then the other thing is if there's other lambs in there, they'll pretty much teach themselves. If you pull them early, like that one night that we had all those lambs and a lot of them were multiples, we and there that night, we were pulling those lambs right away. Pulling them, bringing them up, giving them colostrum, and then putting on the milk machine, and I bet half of those lambs trained themselves just because the others were going up and sucking, and they would go along, and, they just started easy, so
Yeah. Yeah.
so, I guess that's our unplanned discussion on bottle lambs.
Yeah,
It's a
it
timely
is. Yeah.
topic, and with cold weather and everything.
I just looked on Premier's site now, and they have a Lactec Ovis 40, they call it.
Yeah. That was the old one, but they don't, if you look, it says back order, and then if you look further down, it says it no longer carry them.
Well, they also have, Forster Technic Eco Lamb feeder.
Did you look at the price?
I'm still stuttering over it. Wow.
That's the problem. Um, I think these Lactec machines could be improved. Actually, well, Premier One doesn't sell them because they had too many quality control issues with them. But there's not, I mean, that's the next option is that Forster one for 7 grand.
74.88
Yeah, so, I don't know. Somebody needs to build a milk machine.
plus shipping of, 250 to 450 bucks depending where you're at. I
That's
always wanted to look here quick and see if it said how many lambs it'll handle. Better handle it out more than 40.
I think that one will handle a lot more.
Has
I was
holds 75 pounds of powder, um,
Yeah,
8 feeding stations it can do.
okay, yeah. So that's, yeah, definitely for a lot more. The Lactac only does 2 stations with, well, 2 stations with 2 nipples, and then they say you can't add a 3rd one, but you would have to tee into the lines.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah. I was, looking online at what's available in some other countries, and I found this one company that does, um it's they actually use the RFID tag on the lambs,
Yeah.
so you can, adjust how much each lamb can get.
That's that's kinda cool.
Now that was, I don't know, probably a $20,000 unit.
Yeah.
It's a big sheep dairy that was using that one, but yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
But the big thing I like, of the milk machine over the buckets is with the buckets, it's always a challenge to know how much milk to put in. 'Cause as the lambs ramp up consumption, I mean, that goes from very little to a lot pretty fast, and, I mean, we would check it a couple times a day and just pour some more in, but it was still always that hassle.
Yeah. And you're when are you weaning? Usually like 30 days, 40 days,
No, 21,
21 days.
21 to maybe a little over.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing under 21.
Yeah.
I think the rule is 21 days or 20 pounds, but the 20
Double their birth
pounds.
weight.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
think that would be more accurate because, I mean, the 20 pounds with a little ruminant lamb, that was 4 or 5, 6 pounds at birth, he's probably not gonna be 20 pounds in 3 weeks, and he can be weaned just as well, so
Yeah.
if they're doing well and they're 3 weeks old or a couple of days over, we'll wean them.
Yeah.
If they were just a little draggy, maybe getting started, I might give them a couple more days, but never over 30. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep. Milk
It's
replacer is expensive.
yeah, but well, the other thing is, when do bottle lambs die? About right when you're ready to wean them. So, I mean, when we just started doing that 21-day weaning, I mean, that's young, and I never had much success in getting them to consume too much creep feed before that. I mean, we have it in there for them. They're maybe nibbling at it a little bit, but they're not really consuming it. And when we wean them, they bawl for a little while, but we've never lost the lamb at that during that weaning process.
Yeah.
There's been often I was like, "I don't know, man, these things seem too young and too small." We've never lost the lamb from doing that, so I'm like, "Hey, what more do you need?" I mean, so for me, it's not just the cost, it's also the fact that the sooner you can wean them and get them on feed, the better off you are.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I know mine are already starting to hit the creep feed a little bit.
Yeah, I
Surprising.
sh
Yeah.
I should probably get some creep feed out there for some of my first ones, but
Well, I'm talking specifically about bottle lambs. Are the
okay,
ones I noticed eating it. Yeah.
okay,
I didn't even put anything in the feeder for the other ones.
yeah.
But
Oh, what did you think of those, pictures of my bottle lamb pens I send you? It's
yeah,
got
up on the slatted floor.
well, not I guess not slatted, whatever you would call that. It's like a hog.
Yeah, like tenderfoot flooring or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I checked with my dad there where he works. They sell a lot of that hog and poultry
mhm,
flooring stuff to see what he could get,
yeah,
and I thought maybe I could find something cheaper than what Premier has, and
yeah,
they have something very similar.
yeah, they do. Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was actually thinking of seeing what your dad has there
yeah.
too, but then I found this, I had it stashed away in a corner, so
Well, I have some of that tenderfoot flooring, but it's too big because I tried it
yeah,
for lambs, and if they were a week old or whatever, they're probably all right. But you try and put newborns in there to warm them. Like that's what I was using it for.
yeah,
Bring them in, put them in there. Well, they get a leg down through it, and it didn't work.
yeah, yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah. So when are your embryo transfer and your AI group? They started lambing already, didn't they?
Yeah, they're done.
Down there. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
they're
right. You did say you had one more to go or something the other day.
yeah, yeah, those lambs are most of them are about a week old now, a little
Yeah.
over, so, yep. Yeah, I guess we were gonna talk about that a little bit. I'm still not sure if I want to. No, but yeah, let's talk about it.
So let's go back to the beginning. Like how many animals did you AI?
So, we AI'd, I think it was 29 ewes that we just regular AI. Some of that was semen I had bought in. Some was fresh semen we collected and AI'd with right away,
Mhm.
and some was semen I had on storage.
Mhm.
Uh, so we did that, and then we flushed. Well, we AI bred 4 donor ewes and flushed them. Um, so initially, our flush went relatively well. This was the first we'd ever done it, so it was kind of an experiment. Um, the initial when we flushed them, so you AI them, and then, like, a week later, you flush them and get all the embryos out of them, and then you put those embryos in donor use, or you could freeze them and keep them for whatever, or send them, sell them, or whatever. Anyway, we flushed 4 donor use. Um, one of them didn't super ovulate, so she only had 3 embryos, so we let her carry them rather than flushing her.
Mhm.
Our Taxol we flushed 8 eggs out of, but they weren't fertilized, and this had happened, you know. And then our other 2 ewes, the Katahdin, we flushed 10 embryos out of her, and a Dorper ewe, we flushed 15 embryos out of. So we got 25 embryos out of, I mean, out of 2 ewes, but basically from flushing 4 ewes, we had 25 embryos. So not great, but okay, it's our first go at it. That's not bad. Um, so we put those in donor ewes, 2 per ewe, and usually your stick rate on embryos is pretty good, especially fresh embryos like that. They were never frozen. They were just, we flushed them out, put them right into donor ewes. Well, we had a terrible stick rate. We ended up with, let me see here, 5 lambs out of those 25 embryos.
Wow. So what were you using for your receps? Just Katahdins?
They were, some Katahdin Dorper crosses we had here. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Good young ewes. So yeah, I don't know, what happened there. My vet that did the ultrasounding said she was seeing a lot of that this fall. So weather related, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
kind of just one of those things. So that was a super bummer.
Yeah.
And then the AI use, I mean, they did a little better, but not much. I mean, we had less money into it, so it doesn't look as bad as
Yeah.
those embryos look pretty bad cost wise.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the AI use, you say you did 29.
yeah. Yep.
And did you get how many of them took though? 50, 60?
No, it was less than that. We out of those 29, we lambed 12 ewes
Did you turn a ram back in again?
later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we waited. Actually, we waited until after we scanned them and realized that a lot of these are open, then we turned the ram back in,
Gotcha.
later breeding. So not always lost there as far as the ewes go, but you still have all that cost into
Right.
it. So, um, we had 10 Katahdin ewes that we AI'd with fresh semen. Out of that, we had 6 ewes that lambed, which isn't terrible, but they all had singles. Well,
This was fresh semen though.
yeah.
So why are you using fresh semen for one of your own rams?
Actually, it wasn't one of my own rams.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a ram that Dan Turner left me borrow to collect semen from.
Gotcha.
Wanted to store semen on it anyway,
Yeah.
and we
So it was a local animal, easy access.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have used it on from my own rams, and in that case, we were just doing it to try it to kinda get a baseline for, the success rate
Yeah.
because
Fresh semen versus frozen.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and my idea is what we like to do in the future is if Leon decides he wants to use one of our rams, we can have a breeding day. You can bring your ewes, we'll collect our ram, AI your ewes, and you take your ewes back home again.
Yeah.
And we don't none of us has to worry about any disease transfer. So that was kinda why we were doing it the first time. Now this time it was a ram that I'd borrowed and collected.
Yeah.
So so that, I mean, 6 ewes out of 10 isn't terrible. I'd like to see a little better success rate out of that than that, but 2 of those 6 So they all ended up with singles. There was 2 that had twins, but 1 was stillborn. Um, so yeah, not great, but okay, that's workable. And then we AI'd 9 Dorper ewes to an Australian white, and we got 7 lambs out of 5 ewes there. So there again, that was decent.
Yeah.
Oh, could have been a little better, but decent.
Hmm.
So, and then we had 9 Texel ewes that we AI'd, and actually, originally, when we scanned them, we thought all those ewes were open, and it ended up one of them lamb, so we got 1 lamb out of those 9 ewes, and that was semen I'd bought in, so that
That hurt.
that lamb, I figured I have $1,500 in already
Yeah.
in semen and breeding fees for,
Right.
all the ewes that didn't breed, so
All the drugs and everything for sinking the other ewes.
yeah, 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 so, um, yeah, so hopefully that one will be really good. But the embryos were really what killed us, and I don't know, I haven't talked with, um, my vet tech that did the AI yet to see if we can figure out what went wrong or anything, but
Yeah.
I think it's just one of those things that sometimes that's how it goes, but, I mean, they say, like, for embryos, especially fresh embryos like that, a stick rate of 90% is pretty common, but then they say you do get these swings where you might get a 40-50% stick rate, and, well, we were even under that yet, so
Yeah.
I don't know.
Interesting.
So, we out of all that, we ended up with 19 lambs. And my cost per lamb, if I break it out across those 19 lambs, my cost per lamb is $388.
Wow. So back to this thing of the $1,500 Texel lamb you have on the ground now. Like,
But
people need to understand that this isn't something you do. You don't just, hey, what the world? We got some ewes. Let's breed it. Let's AI them to this really good stud. In
yeah,
cattle, you can have just commercial run of the mill cows,
yeah,
very economically AI them to a top notch bull. And if you only have half a dozen, you're probably better off doing that than owning a bull.
yeah, yeah.
But it's just a little different
It's a diff
with sheep. There's a lot of prep work that goes into sinking those animals. Those cows, you can sink the cows, but you can a lot of times guys are gonna just breed them when they cycle.
yeah.
Oh, they're AI tech. They'll come out that day or whatever. Well, this is a laparoscopic. It's a surgery basically.
Well, and the other thing with cows is if it costs you $100 per cow, and I'm sure it's cheaper than that with regular I'm not
Yeah.
the cattle guy, but I'm pretty sure it's probably cheaper than that with, average semen or,
Yeah.
um, nothing crazy. If it costs you $100 to AI a cow, well, that's not a big deal. If you're getting a $2,000 calf out of that thing right
Right.
now, uh, compared to a sheep, it's gonna cost you around, on a average, it's gonna cost you around $100 till you buy your semen, a little bit over actually. Well, you're not gonna sell that animal commercially and make money off of it.
Right, and I guess what I was getting around to say was in sheep, if sheep guys are AIing or flushing, whatever, it's a very planned mating, and this is with the goal of producing a stud ram or like a top notch
Replacement use,
replacement ewe
you know?
that would give you the opportunity maybe to keep a breeding ram back from or something
No.
like that.
Well, I mean, in the case of that Texel ram, that was imported semen.
Right.
Now it's been used quite a bit. Been imported, and, this semen in particular, I think, was imported, I don't know how many years ago. Somebody just had it, and I bought it. But for that Texel ram, if he turns out well, and he looks awesome at this point, he's, you know, a week old for what that's worth, but he looks awesome at this point. If he turns out to be a stud and I use him on my flock next year, well, if I go out to buy a really good Texel Ram, I'm gonna pay more than the $1,500 probably.
Exactly.
No, he might turn out to be a complete dud, have a parrot mouth or or whatever,
Right.
but I'm saying it is feasible that in hindsight, I mean, it's never a good business plan, but it is possible that in hindsight, I might look back and say, "Hey, that $1,500 RAM was actually worked out alright."
Well, as long as the rest of those ewes all bred up pretty quick and didn't miss a beat. If you
I'd be lo
if
yeah,
you look at the
yeah,
downtime,
right, I didn't look at that lost opportunity at all.
I mean, if you would look at that again in 6 months, you might have a $3,000 RAM.
That's a good point. That was just the cost that went into AIing those ewes and the semen, and getting it shipped and all that, was an expensive program to start with, which I think my mistake in the taxels were we should have done it later in the year when they're more in season.
Which
'Cause they're
they have a shorter window to begin with.
a lot more so than Katahdins or
Yeah.
Dorper. Yeah, they're a pretty seasonable breed, and so we did it at, like, the last week in August, so, you know, we breed Texels in September, but they don't breed up as easy as the Katahdins do, so
Yeah.
maybe that was some of that. Also, that frozen semen that was frozen for quite a while, you're not gonna get as good successes.
Yeah, and who
I
knows?
was I still have some of that semen left over. I want 'em to check it out pretty good, see it might not be as viable anymore.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell sometimes. So, because the Dorper ewe that we flushed, that we got 15 embryos out of, when we went to breed that ewe, the tech asked me if I'm sure I wanna use this semen. It was semen from one of my rams that I had stored, and then I sold the ram. So I just stored semen because she said it doesn't look very good. And I'm like, "Well, we used it last year and we did pretty good with it." So I said, I'll take a chance because I didn't have anything else, you know, there that I really wanted to use." And that was our most successful mating. So, you know, they have things they look at and all that, but it's sometimes hard to tell
Yeah.
with frozen semen. So,
So, I had uh, a cattle guy that used to do AI. He reached out in response to a discussion we had a while back, and he said he doesn't know if this is how it is for sheep, but he said if he had a cow that he couldn't get to settle, they would either he would do it or you can actually buy mixed straws, multi-sire straws.
okay.
And he said it like ups your success rate,
Yep. I would believe that.
almost like a competing. It almost makes those sperm cells compete against each other or something.
Yep. There was also an article I read recently about a study where they said that we always say it's the sperm that swims the fastest that fertilizes the egg. Well, this study, and I don't know what species it was on even anymore, but this study showed that the egg actually kind of decides which sperm cell it wants.
Mhm.
So you might have that playing into it if you have multiple sires. It's just a finicky
Yeah,
that dad just throws finicky eggs.
yeah. Who knows?
It's a yeah, fascinating. Reproduction's a fascinating discussion for sure.
Yeah.
But so that was our yeah, embryo and AI program. But I was pretty disgusted about it when we ultrasounded those ewes. Well, here's the other thing. We had 4 or 5 ewes that were supposed to be open that actually ended up lambing. So we had a better lambing rate than I was expecting after we ultrasounded, but I was pretty disgusted after we ultrasounded that,
Wow.
uh, but now we're already starting to plan. I don't think we'll do any flushing this year, or probably not in the near future. Yeah, probably not right now. I'm sure we'll do it again in the future, but I was already looking at what AI we wanna do this year because it is, I mean, even with success rates like this, um, if you look at just the options it gives you for different bloodlines and stuff, and especially, like, with my Dorbers and Texels, which are pretty I have a pretty small flock, so I can't go out and buy a lot of rams,
Right.
just can't justify that, but I can buy semen, you know? Um, and now with the Katahdins, I have a lot more. I raise a lot more of my own rams. I can, I have a bigger flock. I can raise more of my own rams. But even that, I can like the semen that we used this time, that ram wasn't for sale, but I could buy semen.
Right.
Well, actually, I didn't buy it, but a body deal.
Gotcha.
Um, so I didn't, but I can, the best ram out there, you can probably buy semen on them. So that's where I see it as being really valuable.
Yeah. There's also a biosecurity factor benefit
Yeah,
there that you don't have to drag in a new animal into your flock.
yeah. I would really where I see us probably using embryos more in the future is probably not gonna be so much in our own flock as I would like to buy in embryos. So I would like to, if I need a new bloodlines, rather than going out and spending a bunch of money on a really good ram, I would rather tell you that, "Hey, if you mate this ram to this ewe you have in your flock, I wanna buy the embryos from that." And then I'll buy the whole flush, however many it is, and we agree on a price. I pay the cost of the program and everything. So now, instead of getting 1 ram that I have all my eggs in this 1 ram, instead of that, I might get 10 embryos from this mating and put them in my ewes, raised on my farm, and decide which one of those rams I like best.
And right. And even though it's the exact same pairing, they're not all going to be the same.
No.
I mean, with
No.
genomics, we know that they don't. We used to just figure it was 50-50, but
Yeah, well, and even if genetically they're all the same, they all grow different.
yeah.
I don't know. It would give you, you know, I think it would be a much better way to bring in new genetics because I know we've talked about this quite a bit. The longer you raise sheep and you have your flock and the things you're selecting for, it gets harder and harder to buy in rams that you like. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
But if I could buy in like embryos from the best dam and the best ram in your flock, and then pick the best one out of those,
You might even get
we should
two.
be really good.
You might even get 2 or 3 really good ones.
Right.
And then the
But
other
I would
looking
expect
if
more than one,
yeah.
but I can keep the very best one. They're all gonna have a little different hair coat, structure. There's gonna be some differences, and I can pick the very best one, and I can keep 2 or 3 backups too, and use them and see which one I like best.
Yeah. And you can let's say you did keep 3 of them, you have the ability to now breed a pretty big group of ewes with a very similar. Let's say you wanted to keep back 100 replacement ewes,
Yeah.
ewe
Yeah.
lambs. You could take 3 very similar. I mean, genetically, they're the same
Yeah.
on paper, I guess you would say,
Yeah.
and you could breed, like, a subset of replacement ewe lambs that are all genetically, uh,
Listen,
the
or
same on the top side, on the sire side.
the other thing, you would get some ewe lambs out of this. So now you would have
Mm.
some ewe lambs in your flock that are completely different. genetics as well, and you could use those to outcross to some of your favorite lines and create some sires that are, um, they're not as closely related to your flock
Right.
that way as well. Yeah, yeah. I just think that that would be um, where I'd like to go with it in the future. Now the problem is there's not a lot of people doing it at this point, so it's not like I can go to just any farm and they'll be able to agree to that.
Yeah.
But I think that's where we're or I hope that's where we're going because I
I
think that would be key.
I think there's more and more AI technicians. I mean, I even in the last 5 years, I think there's more options than what there
Yeah.
was 10 years ago
Yeah.
here
Right.
in our area.
I mean, I know of 3 here in PA now,
Yeah.
and, I mean, I guess before I was looking into it, I didn't know about them all either because, at least 2 of those have been in business for quite a while, but, yeah, there's definitely a lot more AI techs
Yeah.
around, so, yeah, that'll help a lot, but it's not a it's not an easy program, like you said, to set them up or even collecting RAMs isn't always all that easy. We've had some really good collections, and then we've had some days where it just didn't go as good, so and the other place where embryos are used a lot is to buy in like, import genetics. Um, there's where the
From maybe other countries,
other
you're saying, like, where we can't actually bring live animals in, yeah.
right, right. Yeah, like from Australia, like most of my Dorpers have an Australian background, and that was from Paul Lewis's flock, and he was buying in embryos and semen from Australia, but, um, you buy in embryos, get them shipped.
Hey, folks, just wanted to remind you that this podcast is hosted and sponsored by Lost Creek Wholesale, your distributor of universal feeders, Schumer sheep and goat equipment, and the Ramquip equipment line. If you're looking for some options for feeders for your sheep or goats, or if you're looking for hay racks, lambing jugs, bale feeders, spinning trims, tub and alley systems, we got it. Visit our website, www.lostcreekwholesalellc.com, or give us a call, 717-310-3641, and we'd be happy to help you out. Thanks again. Did you see that little mobile version that ITN Richardson did?
I saw the email, I didn't play with the tool yet, so
You had played around with his other
the free
program. Yeah.
yeah, 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 I use that. Um, actually, what I primarily use his sheep tools for is just pulling EBVs on a set of ewes. Like, if I have a set of ewes in a breeding group and I want the EBVs on that set of group, the easiest way to do it for me is just to put their numbers in his, site, and then it pulls all the EBVs out. Because Pedigree Masters, there's no easy way to pull those EBVs out
Right.
on just a certain set of ewes.
Yeah, I wonder if ITN could make like management groups or something on that tool.
That you could set separate menu.
Well, like, so I had asked him today if there's a way to sort by current.
Right.
And then the only way that works is if you have your animals all up to date, what their status is or whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
And that will still mean that an animal that's not on your farm could still be current, right?
At least
In another NSIP flock.
yeah. Well, see, that's the problem though with that is it's whatever you set it at.
What do you mean?
So it's the animals that were born in your flock. You're the one that controls, so you can sell that animal and now it's marked as sold, and you don't know if that went to another breeder and
Oh,
somebody's still using it.
okay. Yeah.
I don't think Well, you might be able to change the status on an animal that you bought in. I'm not sure on that.
Yeah. I just wish there was a way to only see animals that are currently in your system or whatever.
Yeah.
But that is an interesting little tool he there. It's definitely I really like his other program he made.
That is that the breeding tool?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You use that?
Well, I have used it already to just to pair or use with different sires,
Yeah.
but
So
usually I already know what I wanna do anyway.
I've used it for that more just to see the inbreeding coefficient.
Yeah, I was playing with that
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, I do that sometimes, throw all my ewes in there, and then the sires I don't wanna use in this breeding and yeah, just look at the breeding coefficient because I start running into that a bit in my flock.
So something that really I noticed, I have a couple ewes that were bred back to their sire,
Yeah,
and their maternal numbers, their accuracy figures are, like, very, very high.
okay, yeah.
Why does it do that?
You're saying before they even lambed or anything?
No, they've lamb now,
Okay.
but their maternal numbers, their accuracies are higher than their weight EBVs.
Yep. Really? Higher than their weight EPVs?
Mhm. Yeah. I'll send you a link to the animal once we're done with this call.
Okay. That's
And
I mean, I would assume it's because you know the genetics that are in that animal that well, where about otherwise, without a genomic test, you don't know if it got 50% from the sire or 20%.
yeah. So I wanna say is I'm not condoning doing this in a normal as a normal, way of doing
Uh,
things, but
it's only inbreeding if it doesn't work, right?
right. But there was, it was, like, 2 years ago, I guess. There was a couple ewe lambs in a group, and the only way it made sense was to leave them in that group, and that's how it worked.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyhow, I just noticed the inbreeding coefficient is only 25, I think.
yeah, yep,
Um, but I just noticed how the maternal numbers were how it made them jump so much.
yeah.
I'll send you a link over to one of those ewes just for you to look at for curiosity's sake.
Yeah.
It's bad.
I should look at that because 'cause we've done some of that intentionally. We've done some already where it just especially ewe lambs where it's like, "Okay, this is the sire I wanna breed these ewe lambs to," and a couple of them are out of that sire. It's like, well, they're not gonna have that many lambs anyway.
Yeah.
Um, and we just did it. But we've done some of that, intentionally as well. But and yeah, I always say going back to the sire one time isn't that bad. But then you better outcross to something else.
Yeah.
See, I used to have this in my head that once you have inbred animals, now you're always going to have inbred animals. Like it'll take a while to get rid of that inbreeding. But that's not how it works. If
No,
you breed two inbred animals together from different lines,
no,
that
not in
offspring is not inbred at all.
right.
So once I realized that, it's like, okay, if you inbreed a bit and see what comes out of that, and then go outcross to something else, that's, kind of a good thing. Now this is in the breeding stock scheme where you have pretty good ideas of what you're looking for, but it's not like we're breeding 100 ewes to their sire.
Right. We're gonna get ourselves in trouble real quick here.
No, I'll
But
stand by
and,
that.
you know, 10 years ago, this whole thing of inbreeding and breeding too close, like I was really worried and concerned about it. Like,
Right.
but looking back, I actually did myself a disfavor buying some of the rams I did. With you to make consistent genetic progress, I'm
Yeah.
convinced it actually hurt me instead of helping me.
When you were doing that was probably back when there was some NSIP producers that were really harping on buy rams from as many different breeders as you can to get connected to as many different flocks as you can. Um, the idea was for more accurate data because you're connected to more flocks.
Yeah, and
Problem, yeah,
that and buying an animal on data when he didn't really fit the rest of my criteria. That was a mistake I made at least twice, probably.
yeah,
That I wish I never would have done.
yeah.
But anyway, you live and learn.
But eh, but that whole thing, like, yeah, you wanna be connected to other flocks, but it's not gonna make you more accurate for your breeding program because 'cause you're buying in all these rams that, yeah, they have data on them, but you still gotta bring them in your flock and see how they do, so
Yeah.
I
Now, for a guy that's just getting started in NSIP, well, that's a little different, I guess. I was gonna say,
Right.
buying a proven RAM is actually will help him.
Right,
Uh,
but this was buying rams from 5 different farms to
well,
be
use that
better connected.
swapping RAMs around, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not a fan of that, and, I mean, if people wanna do that and they think that's the thing to do, that's great. I'm just saying for myself, all I'm gonna have is a lot of variation in my animals that I don't really know what I'm selecting for even.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for that discussion.
sounds good. It was a good discussion.
Yeah.
Think I enjoyed it
A
a
little
lot.
bit of everything, all the way from bottle lambs all the way to inbreeding.
Yeah.
That'll make a nice episode title.
Hey, I'm not the one that scripted it, so
Bottle lambs, bottle lambs, embryos, and inbreeding. There we go.
there you go. I like it.
All right. All right. Catch up with you later. See ya.
Sounds good. Bye.
Thanks again for listening, folks, to the Profitable Sheep and Goat Production Podcast, soon to be called the Ram Quip Podcast. Remember, if you have a question or a topic that you'd like to hear discussed on the podcast, feel free to give us a call at 717-310-3641. Select the option for podcast questions. You can leave me a voicemail there, or you can email me, leon@lostcreekwholesale.net. Thanks again. We'll catch up with you next time.